everyone, welcome. This is the pre-day, so thank you all for coming the extra afternoon before the big show begins tomorrow. My name is Michael Bakaic. I run this company, Iceberg Cyber. We've been doing it for the last 3 years, for pretty much the last 7 months since January. It's all been donut related. It's a lead gen agency specifically and only for MSPs. And I've been on a huge human-to-human kick since January. And what you're gonna see here is the product of a 7-month-long odyssey of going and learning how to talk to business owners dead cold. In February, we did this donut thing for the first time. I've now talked to 629 businesses face-to-face. And it sounds like a large number because it is a large number. And it feels like a large number. It takes a lot of energy to walk in dead cold to 629 places in 36 cities. In 36 cities in this country, and a little bit in Canada. Okay, I'm going to show you exactly what I learned so that you can get off your butt and go knock on doors, because that's where the contracts are. I am coming to you as a reformed tech brain. I am a mechanical engineer by training, undergraduate mechanical engineering, graduate in Arctic engineering from the University of Alaska, Fairbanks. Okay, I'm a civil engineer. I know, and now I love sales because I killed my last business because I was too much of a coward to learn how to be good at it. And I burnt through $4 million of other people's money. $4 million of other people's money until I bottomed out. And then someone told me to smarten up and learn how to love sales. And that's why you're at least listening to 90 minutes of me today, because I've taught myself how to do that. Now I hunt for leads, either for you or with you or teaching you how to do it. I only do it for MSPs. We talk to small businesses. That's my whole game. I got a giant pink donut on my back because for the last 7 months I've been doing it with donuts. Before that, it was golf tournaments. So if we were doing this pre-day last year, I would have told you I've done 47 golf tournaments last year, because golf tournaments are also very good networking opportunities. But I got impatient waiting for someone to book a golf tournament, so I just went straight every morning at 8 a.m. and went knock on doors. Okay? The core tenet to remember throughout this whole workshop is that your MSP sales process is a human-to-human sales process. Okay, let's embrace that. This is a human-to-human sales process. At some point, you're going to be standing across the table from another human being. There's no e-commerce transactional thing where some anonymous person is going to come to your website and sign a $250,000 check. That won't happen. So let's embrace the human aspect of this and try and get to the human as quickly as possible. Here's my way of getting straight to the human. I used to do this with the golf tournaments, and I just wanted to do it every day, and there weren't enough golf tournaments, and I didn't want to fly to a new city every day, so I hit the doors. Okay, I'm going to show you exactly how to go from where you are right now in this little workshop room to Friday when you get back to your office, or Monday if you want a long weekend, to knock on doors. Exactly how I do it. There's no gated content. I'm going to show you exactly what I say. It's already written down on this piece of paper. You know where to get the donuts. I'm going to show you how to make the map. I'm going to show you how to walk in cold and walk out with leads. So let's sync our mindset to begin with. There are 4 objectives to every sales process, not objections, objectives. Build rapport, collect recon, book meeting, close deal. Everyone loves closing deals. Me too, heck yeah. Okay, in order to close deals, you have to have some conversation with the person to know that they have the problem that you want to solve and they want to pay you to solve it. In order to have those meetings, you have to have enough information about them, this is the recon, so that you can prompt them to have a meeting with you. And in order to get them to genuinely answer your questions, you need to have enough rapport so they trust you and can be vulnerable with you. So what we're talking about here of generating leads focuses on the rapport and recon aspect. Okay, you can't jump to just closing deals. If it was that easy, you'd be paying someone 30% commission to just close deals off the hop. You don't want to do that. So it's because the 30% goes into building rapport and collecting recon. I'm going to show you how to build rapport and collect recon in like 30 seconds, walking in dead cold, because that's exactly what we do. Okay? Another piece of the mindset so you can know more about me. I've been taught that sales success is a combination of skill, conviction, and effort. I'm a mechanical engineer. I don't have that much sales skills, but I needed to figure out a way to help you all because I solve your problem. So I need to figure out a recipe that I could execute with my low skill level. Okay? Admittedly, low skill. I haven't done any of the Sandler training or the whatnots and the who's wits. I just try and figure it out from the books. So I had to come up with a recipe that required a low amount of skill, like a 3 out of 10 skill. The scale of skill is from 1 to 10. Conviction is how much you believe that you can actually solve someone's problem. You all have pretty high conviction that you can make people happy. Fantastic. Okay, so the conviction also a scale of 1 to 10. In my recipe, the effort scale goes from 1 to 100 because you can overdo it on effort. And that's pretty much the only lever that I have. Because I don't really have that much sales skill, but I can pound the pavement a lot. And by a lot, I mean 629 walk-ins in the last few months. That's my effort. And that's why I'm so confident that this will work for you, because I'm not telling you that you need to go through like a 4-week intensive sales course. You don't need to do that. At least I didn't need to do that. You need to have some basic understanding of how to converse with another person and read their nonverbals and listen. But we're talking about a 3 out of 10 sales skill in order to get success. And you just overdo it with effort, which we all have. Okay? And that brings me to one of my main mottos, is that volume negates luck. You get lucky when someone comes out of the ether and goes to your website. You get lucky. Where did they come from? No idea. What triggered them to do it? Haven't a clue. But they came to the website and they filled out their form. Take it. It's okay. It's good to get lucky. Okay? That's good exposure luck. I'll take it. I like manufacturing my own luck with hustle. Okay, you have reputation luck, you have skill luck, you have hustle luck. I like manufacturing my own luck. And in this game of knocking on doors, volume negates luck. You don't need to get lucky if you knock on 100 doors in a week. Because you're going to find all the people that have problems. It's a combing function. You're going to comb through Greenville, and you're going to find all the people that have IT problems. Because I did that last week. Okay? We don't need to get lucky when you talk to so many people. Okay? That's how we're going to manufacture our own luck. So let's start off with a fun story. It was fun for me. It wasn't fun for the MSP. Back in March, early days, this may have been the 4th or 5th time that we had done the donuts. MSP calls and says that they're desperate because their wife's on their back and they need to close deals. So the word got through to me. And I said, okay, well, I've been doing this new thing where I just go around, knock on people's doors. Let's do it. I flew to Pittsburgh. And I'm sitting in this guy's chair looking out of his office window, trying to see the problem through his eyes. And across the street is an engineering company. And I asked him, have you spoken to that engineering company? And he said, no. So we got the Duncans and we walked over and we went to say hello. And we spoke to the business owner. And the owner said, how long have you been here? And the MSP said, 15 years. I didn't even know you were there. That's what the engineering company owner said. I didn't even know you were there. This guy had problems. 48 hours later, they got a contract going. That's luck, but it's luck generated through hustle. The lead had been there. Everyone says, we need more leads, we need more leads. The lead was sitting right there, probably searching on Google, probably, or getting close to the point of searching on Google. The MSP was sitting there wringing his hands with his wife telling him to give up because he wouldn't go and talk to the engineering companies in his own town. Here's how you talk to the engineering companies in your own town. Buy some of these donuts and follow this playbook exactly. We're going to walk you through how to make the list. Don't worry, the TV's not on. Forget technology. This is a human-to-human presentation too. I'm going to show you how to make the list. I'll just talk through it. We don't even need the television. I've done it so many times. I'm going to show you how to make the list, how to make the map, and exactly the scripts. Making the lists and the maps you're probably cool with. The script is written out on this little handout that we made. Okay, there's no gated content. This is verbatim what I say, 629 times. Okay, the little cheat sheet one with the blue lines. Okay, and we're gonna role play live, so you practice it. Good Lord. Okay, this is how you build a list. This is how you build a list. Bear with me, just eyeball me in case the TV flashes. This is how you build a list. You don't need to pay anyone for this. Go to Google Maps and type in engineering consultant, civil engineer. Who was talking about civil engineer, Mark? Civil engineer. Civil engineering is a Google Maps search keyword. If you want to know what all the search keywords are, just start searching some of your clients, and in their Google My Business profile, it's got the little keyword. And then you can click that hyperlink and it'll show all the other companies that trigger that keyword in Google Maps. Okay, they're the leads. Those are leads. Civil engineering companies in the right employee band have tech problems that you like solving. That's the definition of a lead. You want to engage the lead because when they have a problem. Okay, bear with me, I'm going to show you how to do that. But that's where the lead is. Just like my Pittsburgh guy that wasn't getting any leads, the engineering company is right across the street from him. He didn't even know, but Google knows. So when I build lead lists like this fun picture here, I just go to Google Maps, I use the Google Maps API, and I pull out all the engineering companies in the suburbs of northern Chicago. There's 300 some odd engineering companies in the suburbs of northern Chicago. You wouldn't think that there were that many. Neither did the MSP, because he didn't think that there were any leads in his area, in frickin' Chicago. Yes?
What about Zoom Info?
Okay, there are many places to get lead lists. Okay, this is my plant in the audience. This is Nicole. Everyone say hi, Nicole. You may have figured out that we work together because we're in the same shirt.
It's a real question.
There's Nicole and Mallory. So everyone's wait for Mallory. Mallory's my wife.
Who's got a library card?
Yeah, the library has it. I was going to say the same thing.
Okay, don't worry. I know I've heard the library because I'm so lazy, guys. I want to only put my effort banging on doors. So I just go to Google and I rip out all the Google business profiles because specifically to answer the question about Zoom Info, I need a list that works with my tactic. I want to drive to their office. Zoom Info has email addresses and telephone numbers for an exorbitant amount of money. But I couldn't care less about cold emailing them. I genuinely couldn't care less and figuratively couldn't care less about it. I just want to drive over and say hi to a human being. And Google knows where everyone's office is. So that's why I use Google. Very simple. When I
optimize with it too.
You can, absolutely. You're going to see a pic of that. So when I first started this, like when we were in Pittsburgh, I didn't do anything cute. I really just went to Google and I found a bunch of engineering companies and we drove over. We specifically want to talk to companies that have 11 to 50 or 51 to 200. Those two bins are what LinkedIn puts people in for employee range. That's the only lead enrichment that I do because there's plenty of APIs that'll charge you a ton of money and try and get super cute about telling you all this crap that they make up and charge you for. Most of it's wrong. Like Zoom Info's employee counts, totally erroneous. Addresses, gargantuanly off. We did one in Chicago. He had like 10,000 people in his HubSpot. HubSpot doesn't have a built-in map. That's why I built a map for HubSpot. We show him everyone on the map, and it's like 123 Main Street, Houston, Texas, city, Chicago, state, Illinois. He paid Zoom Info for that. The company's in Texas. He's in Chicago. He had 10,000 of these pieces of junk that he had paid for. I don't want that. I just want to keep it simple and find the engineering companies in like a 10-mile radius of the office and go talk to them. Because those are the people you want to serve. And fortunately, there's a ton. So I start with Google Maps, and then I go to LinkedIn and get their employee range. And the one that I'm looking for specifically is 11 to 50 or 51 to 200. Because we all want like 20 to 100 employees, and those are the overlapping bins that LinkedIn gives you for that. Okay? That's the only enrichment that I do. I made this cute little thing to do it for me. So I drop a pin with a zip code, and I say engineering consultant, boom, list, straight into HubSpot. For all of us using HubSpot, congratulations, huge HubSpot fans. And this is straight into HubSpot. So this is the list. Okay, very simple. Again, you're going to see on the next slide. This is my motto, don't get cute. I don't want anything to get in the way. I don't want AI junk. I don't want tools. I don't want anything cute getting in the way of me speaking to another human being. Because at the end of the day, if I can just walk in and talk to the business owner, I don't need anything else. I need some messaging that I think will resonate with them, and I need to be standing in front of them. And I would just want to get everything else is just nuanced wrinkles that I'm trying to get rid of, so we can just wake up in the morning and go talk to a business owner on demand whenever we want. The television. Okay, this slide says don't get cute. This slide says how to build a list. Like I said, Google Maps, check the LinkedIn. If you don't have your own mapping tool or you don't use HubSpot, congratulations for using HubSpot. If you don't use HubSpot with the map, you can make your own map in Google Maps. It's called Google My Maps. That's my tip for if you wanted to do this on Monday, just put it in Google My Maps. List hygiene rules. we want 20 to 100 employee companies. So if LinkedIn says that they're 201 to 500, I would skip it. In my personal experience, you're going to talk to a receptionist and there's going to be too many layers of communication. The cold walk-in's not really working there. But most of the MSPs that I talk to are looking for 20 to 100 employee accounts anyways, because over that you're going co-managed, maybe VAR stuff, and it hasn't really been in my sphere. So I'm looking for 20 employee to 100 employee, and in those cases, you're walking in, you talk to a receptionist, you talk to the business owner. You talk to the receptionist, you talk to the president. You talk to the receptionist, you talk to the director of operations. It's one hop, consistently. So that's why I'm looking for that range. You want to make sure that you get rid of like the giant companies. You can scrub your own client list. In HubSpot, you just dedupe by domain, remove your customers. HubSpot's beautiful. Shout out HubSpot. Also, and particularly if you want to do professional services like law firms and accountants, those two industries very commonly will have SEO addresses. So like the headquarters will be in Greenville, and then they'll have offices in Spartanburg and all the other, and Charlotte and all these other places where it's just a shared office space or a rental office, no one's actually there. So if you're doing law firms or accounting, you just be cognizant of that, because your first time through the list may just be filtering out the SEO addresses. Another way to do it is to spend a Sunday afternoon and just go to their website, immediately scroll to the footer, look for locations, and then just update the address to be the headquarters.
So would you say that it's fairly easy to recognize a decision maker's title and find out where their location is, differentiate between headquarters and a branch? That would be my thought.
Where the decision maker
If I'm on
works?
LinkedIn,
Yeah.
and I don't want to be at an Asheville branch. I don't want to be at a Charlotte branch.
Okay.
Either scenario. I
Yeah.
want to be at the Greenville decision-making headquarters.
Right. My workflow is I go to whatever location pops up on Google, and I don't overthink it. And I ask, if the person is there, I ask them, and that person will say, oh, you want to talk to Jennifer, she works in Asheville. Now I know. That's it. People have asked me, do you go to the LinkedIn, do you know do I make a list of the humans before walking in so I can ask for someone in particular? No. Where's my don't get cute? Don't get cute. Couldn't be bothered, because the time spent going on LinkedIn is better spent just driving to the office and asking the human being for ground truth information. I want ground truth information. Tech support. Okay. Now we got no slides. All right. What's the next slide title? I got it. Just give me a little teaser. Give me one sprinkle. List hygiene and the map. And then we got a bunch of pictures. So I'm going to show you the map. The map is a key aspect to this because I want to be able to visualize your total addressable market. I'm a visual learner. Don't let the big ears fool you. I want to visualize your leads. When you say I want leads, there's only so many companies in Greenville. There's only so many. I want to know who they are. And it's not an unanswerable question.
You're hired. You're hired.
There she goes.
You fixed it. You fixed it.
Right, there is a...
Female tech, yes.
There we go. You are the brains of the operation. I'm just the cute one with the donuts. There is a defined list. Here you go. Here's your defined list of professional services in Greenville, Spartanburg. Where did I get that from? Last week. Okay, these are the one pass through searching for engineer, law firm, accounting, manufacturing, a construction, the juicy industries that people like. Cross-reference with the companies that have LinkedIn profiles, and then filtered down to 11 to 50 and 51 to 200. There you are. Total number 227, with some people rejected, 227 companies. So if you want leads, here are the pins. You can go talk to them too. They just got donuts a couple days ago. Here are the pins. This is not to be combative. You can have the list if you want. Because this is public information. This part is public information. So everyone has this part. So you should at least have it. You should be able to visualize your leads.
So I'm just going to tell them that I sent my guy in
Yeah,
a few days.
the donut.
Do it. Tell me. Do it. Record a video. Send it to me.
That's great.
Did this big guy with Mike name would come with donuts? They'll probably pick up on that. They probably will.
They would.
Okay.
I'm not laughing.
It's fine. I mean, you see, I'm not gating anything. I'm going to tell you the exact story. I can show you a recording anonymized from last week. I'm not worried about any of you taking the script and doing it without me, because the difference between where you are now and making the money you want is just effort. So if you want to go, heck yeah, do it and send me pictures.
What kind of donuts?
Those donuts. Dunkin's.
So did you enjoy the donuts? Is
Yeah.
what SDR is going to say.
Try it, and please try it, and then tell Leslie, because we're going to do this in Indianapolis. Yeah, heck yeah, sure, I don't care. Hit them with the donuts. These are take a picture of these. You could probably find some of them. The point with the map is we got to visualize where the leads are, because then it becomes more tangible to you. I want you to know, like I want you to roam your territory and say, I know that company. Oh, I want to know this company. Because that's what I do when I drive around now. I'm eyeballing people's offices. I'm counting how many cars. When someone's got a big bougie sign, I'm thinking, we got to find out how many people work here. I'm coming back with some donuts. That's how I want you to feel about your territory. It's a defined list. There's only so many. Now, some companies don't have Google My Business profile. Some companies don't have LinkedIn. That's okay. There's going to be some people that filter out. And then when we drive around, we just take pics and put them back in HubSpot. But that's it. So we start with this. I came in from Charlotte. My other guy flew into Greenville-Spartanburg Airport. I did here. He did here. The blue pins are the people we spoke to. The rest of the colors are companies split out by these different verticals that we didn't talk to. 107 walk-ins in 5 days. Seven human days, because I was there only for 2. I want you to have a map like this so you can visualize. Okay, more visualizing. That's Amy doing the donuts. We did it together. This is a man named Dave, the first person that I did it with on February 6th. So we're almost 6 months. We're almost 6 months into doing this. This is what it looks like. It's not complicated. There's no black box here. You are literally just going to walk in with some donuts. It's not complicated. You don't want to be pretentious. This is not a gag. You're not there in a chicken costume. You're there. You're there. Like when I go in, I make people laugh and giggle because I'm trying to build rapport. But it's not a gag. It's not pretentious. I'm not bringing in a huge gift basket like one of the episodes from The Office. It's just a $10 box of Dunkin' Donuts. It's the blue collar donuts. I'm just going in to say, I run this IT company. I wanted to introduce myself. Okay, a little spoiler, that's the script. I'm going to tell you that in a second. But this is what it looks like. Okay, you can do this. Another owner, salesperson. If you have a salesperson, this is a great use of their time. Because instead of waiting for the phone to ring, they could go and talk to 100 people a week. When was the last time they cold called and talked to 100 people in 1 week? Never.
What's the close rate?
Great question. We'll get to that. Because it's what everyone asks me. What's the close rate on the first cold call? 0. So the close rate on a donut walk-in for $10 is 0. But what I can do is take a stranger and turn them into a lead and book a meeting at 11% from dead cold. 629 cold walk-ins, 75 meetings booked from dead cold. Close
We're
rate,
talking about 10%.
11%, yeah. Close rate on that, we're getting too far ahead of ourselves.
I meant meeting, yeah.
Okay, conversion from dead cold to booked appointment, 75. 75 out of 629, 11%. From dead cold.
Can I share the day we went together? Okay, so
Stand up, Amy.
we went together in Louisville, Colorado. We spent
Sure.
maybe four-ish hours. We looked up 20 different businesses. We met with 18 that were available to allow us and to introduce ourselves. We ended up booking 3 consults and landed 1 new client out of that. And that was in 4 hours of work, and we did maybe a dozen donuts.
Heck
2
yeah.
dozen donuts.
And we had
So-
flown in at 2 a.m. from Miami.
from an
We're-
event that we did.
Michael, I think too that, we're talking about 6 months, so, and I'm sure everybody in the room would agree that often rapport is built and then it takes time.
Totally.
Or you might come up because of your walk-in. So
Yeah.
I don't it'll be great to see this over time, a year, 2 years, to
Right.
really be able to up your conversion rate based on people going, remember that guy that walked in? We're having this issue, or our IT company's moving on, or they're not supporting us well. And they're like,
Right.
remember that guy?
That's
Well-
why I focus on the more important conversion in this part of it. Like it's a 10-step process to get contracts signed. Okay, we're at step 1. Step 1 is dead cold stranger to now knows you and says, "Yeah, Rupesh, you're pretty cool." Okay, that's fine. We need to have that step 1. You can't jump to step 10 unless they're filling out some e-commerce form on your website and never meeting you. You gotta have to make the first impression. The first impression is now under my control for speed. I can do 20 per day, constantly. I can do 20 per day constantly. Of anyone that I want, I pick them and I go over. That's the power that I'm giving you. That you can convert strangers to leads. And there's a rule of thumb that says like 5 to 10% of any market is in the market right now. And I have been seeing that rule of thumb. Like when I book from dead cold 11% first appointments, it's not because I'm super good at sales. I'm not. I told you already, I'm a 3 out of 10. They're in the right time in their journey. The biggest unknown, the biggest intel piece that we need is when their contract renews. That's the biggest determining factor of where they are in their buying journey. So the 11% that are booking meetings is because they know where they are in their journey. I don't, and they say, you know what, it's actually a good time that you came in. It's perfect timing. It's not perfect timing. I do this every day. It's perfect timing for them. And we uncover that unknowingly. It's a little bit of a blind man game, but you uncover that because you talk to all of them. Like out of the 107, there were 5 or 6 that were having burning problems. Instead of having to go to Google, I went to them.
Right. Take the win, Johnny on the spot, all those
Right.
good things, right? But then now I understand what an impression is. You're
Okay.
leaving
Right.
an impression.
I am making
Yeah.
a human-to-human impression.
May not remember your name, whatever, but
Right.
I will remember, or at least refer to that guy, those people who brought donuts.
Donuts. In my follow-up emails, I mentioned donuts. It's all about the donuts. I think the donuts are more memorable than I am.
Maybe.
Debatable, but the donuts definitely memorable.
You come to our place, it'll be route versus route that makes you memorable.
Yeah, some of the Americans call me out for being Canadian, but what am I going to do about that?
I was taught by Canadians,
Yeah.
so I still say route.
Okay.
I do want to add, I do think there is value if you walk in with a business and they are not ready to sign on now. Don't stop there. Don't just drop that lead. That is still someone who uses your services and who needs you. Continue that relationship building with them, whether it's coming back a month later, 3 months later. Build a cadence in which makes sense for you that works to go back and meet with these people again. Come back in with another box of donuts. Come back in with something else clever to share with them and communicate with them. Many times people will break contracts and end contracts because you establish a trusting relationship with them and they would rather work with you because you can solve their problem that their current IT has not.
Heck yeah.
Okay.
We might get to what a follow-up sequence looks like. Now, I'm not going to drop the S word. What a follow-up process looks like. Welcome late. Giuseppe, I'm Mike. Okay, we might get into that. You're going to need those. But if we don't get into that, this whole recording, there's a QR code on the back of this cheat sheet. This whole recording and my other notes is on that landing page. Don't worry, you don't have to put your contact information. I already know you face to face. So just you can watch the whole recording and see the notes there. And if you want to learn more about it, we can become friends on the internet. Nice to meet you. I'm Mike.
Hey, Arnold.
Human to human. Okay, so smiling faces. We're doing it. These are other MSPs. This is for Dave's MSP. This is another Dave. He likes to call himself Donut Dave, and I encourage him because he's hitting the doors with the donuts. Artie, she's in LA, and Roger is in Houston somewhere.
She brings Portos. She's
Portos,
fancy.
yeah.
She's fancy.
She likes to doing it fancy. Okay, minor footnote, because we're at the halfway point, so we can all take a breath. I like doing Dunkins, okay, because for me, it's a volume game, not low quality volume, okay? I don't think I've given off the low quality vibe to you yet, especially with the shoes. This is a high volume, good quality, and that's what Dunkins is for me, because I need to hit 20 doors per day, and there's tons of Dunkins. When we do Portos, which is a local Cuban bakery in LA County, it's got great brand recognition. It's like $25 per box. Ugh. Okay, because she does 2 per day and then she gets cute and she gives up. I love you already. But we got to do 20 per day, every day. You know, I'm spending $1,000 on donuts per week. More than that, $1,200 last week in donuts. American dollars. For Canadians, a lot of money. So I need consistent, like, I want that 7 out of 10 experience, not pretentious. I don't want it to be a gag. The Dunkin's does that for me. I've done Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme 6-packs are also fine because that's like $9, something like that. A dozen is too much. That's biological warfare on the unsuspecting receptionist. Don't give them a dozen donuts from anyone. 6 is good enough. So that's why I do it. Shipley's is the local brand in Houston. It's also $10. So that's my go-to level. And I say it with such emphasis is because don't think that it's the donuts doing it. The donuts just make the receptionist smile. No one's signing contracts because of the donuts. The donuts just make someone smile and give you another 10 seconds to use your material. And the material wins you the meeting. Okay. I have done this for 57 days on the road, 57 business days. It feels like a lot because it is a lot. I've talked to 629 people. That number doesn't count the full-time donutter that we now have who's done like 1,200. And he's really good at it. If you just take the average of the 57 days, because many of those were me training in 36 different cities, me training at the MSPAA on how to do it, we're averaging 11 doors per day, 11 face-to-face engagements. That's rejecting some of the SEO offices. You get maybe 10, 15%, especially when you're going through your map the first time. So when I do it, like last week, I was hitting 20 to 25. The most engagements I've had in one day is 30. You scale from 11 to 30 by the length of each interaction. Last week, I spent 45 minutes with the IT director of a manufacturing company with 120 people. And he showed me the Excel spreadsheet of all of his IT budget. That took 45 minutes, so it reduced my daily number. But you want interactions like that for $9 worth of Dunkin's. That's how the numbers spill out and how you can gauge for yourself. You plan to do 10 per day until you get warmed up. But 10 per day is a good, consistent pace so that you can cover your total addressable market. Because you don't want to be dipping toes in and talking to 2 people per week. Because if there's 227 companies in Greenville, you're talking to 1% of the market per week. You're never going to find the people that have problems. You're always going to be missing their time. We have to have a big enough comb to comb through the market so they all know you. So every month, when that 8.3% renew in the 1 out of 12 month, they know you. That's what we're going for. Volume negates luck. And even this average, I'm still booking just over 1 meeting per day. With a 120-person engineering company IT director that showed me his Excel sheet budget. Okay, bless you.
Thank you.
Now we're going to get into the real butter and sugar, because I'm going to tell you exactly what I say and how I say it. Okay, this is the script. This is the script. I'm going to do it for you. And it might come off well practiced because I've done it a lot. Okay, this is how it works. We're going into the role now. I'm just going to be me. When we role play, we're going to have Mallory be a receptionist. She used to be a professional receptionist at her parents' boat dealership. She promised not to be too rough on me. Okay, this is how I walk in. I got my scorecard. I'll do the intro and the scorecard now. Okay, this is what's known in sales as a lead magnet. A lead magnet is a vehicle to get someone to understand and perceive their problem better. There are 3 types of lead magnets: reveal a problem, free sample, and free step 1 out of a multi-step process. The last one is kind of lead magnet 201, so forget that for now. Free sample, Costco gives you a cube of cheese. You say, this is a good cheese, and you want to buy more cheese. Okay, that's the free sample. This is a reveal a problem style lead magnet. They have a big problem. I want to help them perceive part of that problem, because if they perceive the problem to be, if they have a stronger association with the problem, they might want to solve it. That's what this is. This is the lead magnet that I make. Really, all it does, on a cute, colorful piece of paper, it does a dark web scan. The dark web part is even the least important aspect of this lead magnet. The most important aspect are the pictures of the employees. Genuinely. I went through 3 years to develop this piece of paper, and really all people care about is seeing their own faces printed on it. But that's why it's powerful, because it's a lead magnet about them.
How did you generate that?
my product does this. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. You start with the list in HubSpot. You need their website, which you get from Google My Business Profile. It does a fun dark web scan. It finds the roster of all of their employees. You're going to hear about it in the script. That's why I'm going quick. Finds a roster of all their employees, and it checks their employees' email addresses for stolen passwords on the dark web. It was something that you probably have all done many times. I just made it into a quick little thing that plugs right into HubSpot, so you can print out these cute pieces of paper beforehand and say, I made this for you. So this is how I do the walk-in. I put this little piece of paper under the Duncans because I want someone to see the Duncans first. I don't want this to come off as salesy or insurance or anything like that. Right? We don't want that. So I'm usually dressed in the colored polo of the MSP that I'm with. So last week it was bright green. You might see that on the street camera footage. I have the Duncans like this. I'm holding it like this because I want everyone to see the Duncans. As soon as you get out of the car, you start smiling because they're probably looking at you through the window. I walk in. Typically, there's a receptionist. Sometimes you're just talking to an employee, but typically you're talking to a receptionist. So I say, hi, how's it going? And I shake her hand. That's the first handshake. Shake her hand. Say, hey, my name is Mike. I work at a local IT company. I love helping engineers with their tech. Wanted to come by, introduce myself, make sure you're having a great day, brought you some donuts. I say it like that. Leslie laughs, but I've recorded that exact candor and pace 629 times because we record all of our walk-ins so we can study them. I say it verbatim. Hi, my name's Mike. I work at an IT company. We love helping engineers with their technology. I want to come by, introduce myself, make sure you're having a great day, buy you some donuts. And I'm making eye contact and I'm smiling using a positive tone, which is the definition of charisma. Eye contact, smiling, positive tone. So if you want to channel your charisma, that's it, those three things. Okay, that's the opener. You're going to say, Mike, that's BS. That can't be doing 11%. That's exactly what I say. We've tried more complicated, we've tried less complicated. This has been for us the sweet spot between conveying the message quickly and telling them enough information. Be empathetic. The receptionist was doing something else when you walked in. They were doing something else. They were on their computer doing something, and they had to turn to you and make eye contact with you and absorb your message really quickly. So that's why we've simplified it to this. No managed services junk like that. IT company. I know you do more than IT, but the receptionist doesn't know that. And in that half second, you got to say something that gets them to say, oh, IT, yeah, okay. Because that's usually what I get right after this. They say, oh, IT, yeah, IT, we have IT. Beautiful. I want them to say that because that means they absorbed what I was saying. Now they're up to speed. Okay, now we got it. We're on the same level. Now I keep going with my material. Okay, so this is the opener. Then I use my lead magnet. The opener just gets them to come up to speed and lock eyes with you. You got to earn the next couple seconds. The handshake is good. It slows down your heart rate. It's a good social contract. They know what's happening. They're meeting a human being. Okay, you do the opener. Hi, my name's Mike. I work at an IT company. Love helping engineers with their tech. Want to come by and introduce myself. Buy you some donuts. I always go high on the donuts. Okay?
That's what made me laugh, by the way.
It might be well practiced. There's like 20 times a day, receptionist getting that giggle. Okay, you can do it too. Like this is a system. This is not luck. I'm not improvising ever. When we figure out how to do the AI analysis of all of my walk-ins, you're going to see how consistent I am. I say the exact same thing. I trained our full-time donutter when we were in Greenville, and he was surprised. I say the exact same thing. I'm not improvising. Because improvising means I get an unknown reaction from them, I get an unknown reaction from me, and I got to think too much. I want all my mental capacity to be dedicated to listening and watching them. And that's why I say my talk tracks. So that's the opener. I get them to laugh, and they say, oh yeah, IT, okay. That's usually how it is. Okay.
Do they say with a Canadian accent?
Depending on where we are. I've done this in Canada too. Okay, so there are some typical outcomes that might happen after you do the opener. Sometimes they'll say, oh yeah, IT, you probably want to talk to Jennifer. And in my mind, I'm thinking, sick, it worked. Yeah, I would like to talk to Jennifer. So I say, oh yeah, who's Jennifer? Don't go too quick. Oh yeah, who's Jennifer? Because I want to know if Jennifer's like the boss, the director of operations, the office manager, the IT director. I want to know who Jennifer is. Always in every circumstance, just like genuine naivety with politeness. Oh yeah, who's Jennifer? Jennifer is the director of operations. Oh yes, totally. This would make sense to talk to Jennifer. Is she here? That's kind of one outcome. We're going to role play these different outcomes, but that's usually one. You're going to adapt to whatever they say. What you're really there to do is deliver the material that you have on this lead magnet, at least in my playbook, to try and qualify where they are in their journey. You're going to see what I mean by that. So at some point when we do our role play, the receptionist is going to look at you and say like, uh-huh. Like what? You work at IT? Okay. What? And then I say, I made this for you. This is a key line. I made this for you, and I'm pointing to their pics and their website. I say, I do this fun thing. It's our little cyber score. It's like a cyber version of a credit score. I try and find your colleagues' passwords on the internet. And if you flip it over, you can see if you're on the list. Okay, that's a key dynamic. I made this for you. Sometimes they'll say, well, if you got a brochure, you can leave it here, and I'll throw it out later. And I say, okay, because that's what they mean. Fun footnote story about the postcards. I'll tell you about in a sec. But that's what they mean when they say, give me your brochure. So I specifically say, oh, I got something way better than a brochure. I made this for you. I made this for you. That was a key line. Okay, I made this for you. We do this fun thing, because I don't want them to be scared or anything. We do this fun thing. It's a little educational tool. We try and find your colleagues' passwords on the internet. Flip it over, see if you're on the list. And that last part is me prompting them to take it. The receptionist is always like, yeah, am I on this list? Okay, then they usually click their pen. They're going through the list. Sometimes they say, like, this guy doesn't work here, this guy doesn't work here. And they get to the end and say, no, I'm not on the list. Okay, beautiful. Because what that tells me is that they're engaged with the conversation. I need to know that they're engaged before I keep going. Because if I keep going and they're not engaged, I'm speaking to a blank wall. There's no one there. So each time that they react, I'm testing to see if they're engaged. That's why we changed the script to say, you can flip it over, see if you're on the list. Because if they just keep looking at me, I know they're not checking if they're on the list. But when they look down and they say, I'm not on the list. Okay, I say, fantastic, okay, great. At that point, usually then I take a deep breath and I say, okay, let me walk you through it. Now that we checked that, let me just walk you through what you're looking for. And I explain what the dark web is and whatnot quickly. And then I pivot to my main question. Okay, so this was we did the opener and the lead magnet hook. Then we go to the main question. Okay, in all its complexity, I say, who's helping you with this kind of stuff? Who's helping you with this kind of stuff? Very simple. Remember who we're talking to. We're talking to the receptionist, office administrator, one of the employees that walked by. They don't have contract details, but they know who helps them with IT. Okay, I say, who's helping you with this kind of stuff? This cybersecurity IT stuff. Who's helping you with this kind of stuff? And they'll say, I don't know, Jennifer. Talk to Jennifer. Okay, beautiful. Who's Jennifer? We do that. And then if they can get Jennifer, I start from the beginning, verbatim. Jennifer, what's going on? I was just talking to Jill. I work at an IT company. Love helping engineers with tech. Want to come by, say hi, bring some donuts. Again, with the donuts. Okay? And Jennifer says, that's killer. I'm director of operations at this company. Sick. Let me show you this thing that I made for you. I do the exact same thing with Jennifer. And then Jennifer says, nope, I'm not on this list. I say, sick. Have you seen something like this before? We chit-chat a little bit about it, depending on her engagement. And I say, I was asking Jill, who's helping you with this kind of stuff? That's it. That's the magic. Who's helping you with this kind of stuff? And then Jennifer usually starts talking to me. You know if you did the first part right based on Jennifer's answer. If Jennifer says, you know what, I don't really feel comfortable telling you, which I've gotten a couple times, it means I pulled on this elastic band too quickly and I didn't build enough rapport. And for some weird reason, she felt that was confidential information. But it's because I'm a stranger. But the vast majority of the time, when you go slow enough and you focus on the opener and talking about this with a slow cadence, they come up to speed, they warm up to you, and they say, yeah, you know what, pivotal IT. Pivotal IT does our IT. That's your Greenville. No, that's Spartanburg. Who was in Greenville? Can't remember. Anyways, Pivotal IT, we hit them too. So they'll tell you the MSP. Oh, cool. Someone here local in Greenville? No, they're in Atlanta. We were talking, the owner was college buddies. It's okay. How's it going with that? It's weird to have your IT. Do they come over here? Like, I'm prompting them because I've had this conversation 100 times. So I'm prompting them. I want to know if they're local. I want to know who do they call. Sometimes the receptionist will say, I don't know who does our IT, which could be true. But it's also a bad sign, because if any of your clients, if I asked any of the receptionists of your clients, they would say, CMIT does our IT. So you're learning something always, even when the receptionist says, I don't know. And in those cases, I asked the receptionist, okay, like if the phones didn't work, who would you call? I would call Jennifer on my phone. Okay, sick. Let me talk to Jennifer. Let me talk to Jennifer. Let me show her this. So that's always the pivot, right? Okay, again, the opener, hi, my name's Mike. I work at an IT company. Simple. I love helping engineers with their tech. I run this IT company. Even better, I run this IT company. I love helping engineers with technology. I wanted to come by and introduce myself. And bring you some donuts. Like 99 times they'll say, oh my gosh, that's so nice. Okay, so you got to that's so nice, killer. Now you're in. That earned you another 10 seconds. That earned you some time with the receptionist where she's not going to say, give me your brochure and let me throw it out on your behalf. You got to earn each additional second. And then the receptionist is going to kind of give you the look like the light's on, do something, or leave. And then you say, I made this for you. You kind of turn your body so you're both looking at this thing. I made this for you, pointing at their pictures and stuff and pointing at their website. Do this fun little educational thing. Try and find your colleagues' passwords on the internet. And if you flip it over, you can see if you're on the list. That's it. That's the magic. That little sequence gets them to say, the heck is this thing? Why do you have Joe's face? I get that too. How do you get Joe's face? It's his LinkedIn picture. Yeah. He's fishing. He likes fishing. That's his picture. You get some really weird LinkedIn photos where people are like hold up the fish and stuff, right? Yeah. Okay. What is this again? Perfect. Okay. Now they're up to speed. Okay. Now they're curious. What is this? And I say, okay, let me walk you through it again. So, I do this little educational thing. I try and find your colleagues' passwords on the internet. We're all making third-party cloud accounts all the time. And sometimes someone breaks into Dunkin's, steals the email password combo. And since most people reuse the same password for everything, criminals go log into your Outlook or Bank of America. Oh, yeah, I've heard about that. Google sends me notifications. Perfect. Yes, we're talking about the same thing. I just did it for your work. Who's helping you with this kind of stuff? And then they tell me, you got to talk to Jennifer. She's the operations director. I don't know. Okay, sick. Is she here? And then you pivot on that. We're going to role play what to do after the is she here, but that's the guts of it. This script is written on this piece of paper. This is not a scam. I'm not gating this content for you. I've actually already posted most of this on YouTube, so you could have watched this already. There's no gated content. The only thing separating you from where you want to be is effort. Take this information, send me pics of it. So the script is here. The door opener, expected reactions, the hook, and the question. Okay? That's exactly what I've done 629 times.
Has it happened where you go in, you drop that cyber scorecard off, and then they get breached, and then now they think you did it?
Have they thought I did
my lawyer
it?
has warned me for stuff like that, right? Like, so you
Liability?
Yeah. Like if you go.
No one has called me back saying that. The simplest way to address that is that, no, this is all public information. This comes from the FBI's database. We just check to do it as a little hygiene thing. Because the criminals know this stuff, we care about engineers here. That's why we did it for you. If they call you blaming you, it's not because of this. It's because they're just looking for someone, and then you just have to verbal judo to say, listen, I know you're stressed out. Can I send someone over to help you? We didn't cause this, but we're here to help. Can I send someone over to help you? That's what I would say.
But my lawyer specifically warned for stuff like that, walking
Okay.
in and that it could turn around. If the breach happens, it has just happened or happens shortly after, and then it ends up being a lawsuit.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not a lawyer yet. You can show this to your lawyer and tell them with confidence, this is all public information. by the law, by the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, this has to be public information because we didn't have permission to do anything. We're just checking the Have I Been Pwned API for all the nerds in the room. Okay, that's it. This is public information supported by Microsoft and the FBI. That's it. It's public information. So ask your lawyer, but no one's burned me on it.
Your process obfuscates passwords or doesn't.
Right. I'm not showing anyone. If I was printing their passwords,
Oh, not
which I
the
do not.
scorecard.
Actually, that's a great thing that you brought up. Because some of the dark web breach services, they'll tell you the plain text password. I explicitly don't do that because that would be liability because we know their credentials. You don't get it from me. I don't get it from Have I Been Pwned. No one tells me the plain text password. I share in no liability explicitly for that exact reason.
Yeah, I mean, you might be okay. Everybody's different states and all those kind of things, but at the very minimum, you don't want to come in like a know-it-all who's got too much information for them to be comfortable with.
Right.
Anyway.
Totally.
Scare people.
Because we're not trying to scare them. Okay? You see even how we're laughing and smiling about this. I deliberately do not want to make them feel bad. I say I do this fun thing to try and preface it that this is going to be a fun interaction. I'm not here to scare you. If they're afraid of you, they ain't paying you any money. They might pay you once, and then they won't be scared anymore, and they'll stop paying you. That's not what we want. We want a 20-year relationship with them, and it's not based on fear. Okay, when we ask the question, who's helping, this is the most important stuff that we're there for. And this is going to answer the questions about how to do the follow-up and what the actual conversion rates are from one stage of the funnel to the next. Okay, so what I'm looking for is current IT provider, which could be DIY, could be internal employee, like explicitly hired IT director, not a software engineer. That still counts as DIY in my book. IT director, right? Or managed service provider or solo consultant. Those are different. I track them differently in HubSpot because those all have different talk tracks that you're going to follow up with. So that's what we're listening for. We're trying to gauge disposition. The receptionists, who are not gatekeepers, the receptionists are your internal influencers. The receptionists, they know the scuttlebutt about what's going on in the office. So when the computers don't work, the receptionists know, which is why they're such great assets for you. You just have to make them feel comfortable telling you. And I make them feel comfortable walking in with donuts. And they tell me all the time, oh my God, don't tell my boss I said this, but we hate our IT. They mouth it to me. And I'm like, say it louder, I'm trying to record this. Yeah, like last week we had one, and in the notes, Phil wrote, she mouthed, we hate IT, because it's not coming up in the audio. But the receptionists tell you that when you walk in, you treat them with respect and empathy. Right? That's why I hate the term gatekeeper. Gatekeeper is what lazy salespeople call the receptionist when they can't impress them. Just impress them and earn time with them, and then they'll be your internal influencers. They're there to help you. They'll tell you.
Record. You actually record the conversations?
In many states where one-party consent is allowed, we record the audio and we put it straight into HubSpot so we can analyze it. It's not all states. I'm not.
California, that's the way you go.
It's not in California, totally. Not in Florida, California, some of the other ones. I'm not a lawyer yet, so check your local listings for previews coming soon. So that's IT provider and disposition, how they feel about it. Okay? Sometimes when important nuances about how you feel about it, the receptionist might not like it, but the boss is brothers with the IT company, so you always got to take everything with a grain of salt. The real disposition is the person that's going to sign the check. Ask them. But you start getting a pulse check from the employees. And then the most important, if they have an MSP, when does the contract renew? This is the most important piece of intel in your sales process. If the contract renews next September, don't worry about doing anything for 6 months. They ain't doing anything with you.
Take the donuts back.
No, give them the donuts. I'm going to show you exactly what to say. But the main point there is, in this industry, it's very common to sign annual contracts. If they're locked into an annual contract, they're not in a buying window. So don't stress out about them saying, they didn't book a meeting. Of course they didn't book a meeting. They got 9 months left on a contract. They know it and you know it. Sometimes they know it and you don't know it. And that's when you feel stressed. But this is the most important piece of intel. Because once we know when their renewal date is, we know where they are in their buying journey, and we can orient the rest of our sales strategy around that. I have an exact talking point on how to get that. We're getting there. But this is the most important. That's why when people say, well, what's the closing rate on donuts? Don't worry about closing rate on donuts. Worry about what's the conversion rate between going dead cold and getting these 3 pieces of info. I don't have that stat, but it was like 80% last week that we got. 80 some odd out of 107, we got all this information. That's what you want. Because I know when everyone's contract renews. I know when they're going to start searching Google. They're not going to do it 12 months before renewal. They just signed a contract. Why am I going to go waste time sending them cold emails and junk? They're locked in. I'm going to spend all my money and time donutting in the 4 weeks from month 4 to month 3 before renewal. The fourth, key 3 intel sounded cool to me, but there's actually 4 things I ask for. The 4th one is seat count. All the time I say, it's a great office you have here. How many people you got? That's it, that's my line. It's a great office you got here. Even if it's the stinkiest, dingiest, eczema, dried skin office possible. It's a great office here. How many people you got? Because the receptionist knows that. The receptionist ordering the pizza for the pizza party. They know how many people are there. So that's the 4th one. And the reason that one's so important is that determines if I'm going back. Because the open source intel from the internet is all dirty, especially post-COVID. Like ZoomInfo won't tell you this, but post-COVID, people cut a lot of employees. ZoomInfo didn't update their stuff. We've been to places in Chicago where it's like 60 people. You go in 2 people. Yeah, we had to let a lot of people go post-COVID. That was 6 years ago. Thanks, ZoomInfo. But that's why seat count is the most important piece of intel when we're going in. The receptionist knows it. It's a great office you have here. How many people you got? Yeah, we got 25 people. That's sick. They all work here, or are they working from home? No, they're all here. You can see the cubicles in the bullpen. I'm there, eyeballing everyone. I'm seeing they all got dual monitors. Sick. It's a big mural on the wall. Sweet. Smells good in here. Good. It's all this intel that you get from walking in. So those are the 4 things I'm looking for. Seat count, disposition, renewal date, IT provider. If you walk out with those, you got a lead. That's how you can qualify if they have problems that you like solving. A prospect is when they're 3 to 4 months away from their renewal because they're in a buying window. An engaged prospect is someone in their buying window talking to you. Okay? And the answer to getting them to talk to you is more of these. So let's get to the role play because we're going to do it. Note before role play. We're going to do 30 minutes role play. We're going to do it. Leslie's going to be our star. So the main note about mindset here. Okay, be humble. Be humble. You're not going to get contracts the first day. You're not going to get contracts the first week. You don't get contracts until one of these leads is in their buying window with a problem so bad they want you to solve it. That's how you get a contract. But in order to find all of those people in Greenville, you can just go and talk to them. That's the empowering thing that I want to impart to you. None of these are going to be laydowns where you walk in and you give them $9 at Dunkin's and they say, I was waiting for you to come, here's my money. If that happened, I wouldn't be training you on how to do this. I'd be selling you the leads for 30% commission. Okay? But the reason that I'm not doing that yet is because you don't get laydowns. But you do get a ton of good intel. And then with a little bit of patience and a lot more effort, you can turn that intel into a $100,000 annual contract. Yes, there's your legit outcome. Be patient. These are first encounters. Be patient. I'm talking like 3 times as fast right now as when I speak to the receptionist. Because I got to slow myself down to control their pace so they slow down, so they feel comfortable giving me all the info. All right, let's role play. Leslie, please hop the boards and let's try and do, we're going to at least do one scenario given time, but I'll walk you through what this scenario is. So this is going to be sort of your mainstay. Okay? I call this the due diligence close. Here's the backdrop. Which one of these 8 water bottles is mine? Brandon, can you throw me a water bottle from the thing? Okay, here's the due diligence close so that everyone gets where we're coming from. In this industry, the water is for me, it's not for the role playing. It's not a Stone Cold Steve Austin thing, don't worry. Okay, so in this industry, people are signing annual contracts. Magnificent. That means they're going to predictably age into a buying window. So when I go in, I speak to the receptionist. I do the script that I told you. Hi, my name is Mike. I want donuts. She said, oh, that's so nice of you. Great, I made this for you. We do this fun thing. And she looks at it and she's like, this is sick. You know, you should be talking to Jennifer. Who's Jennifer? Director of Operations. Magnificent. Is she here? She's here. She goes and gets Jennifer. Very common. Jennifer comes and says, what's going on? I heard something about donuts. Yes. Okay, great. Thank you for Jill for telling Jennifer that we got the donuts. I do the thing from top to bottom. Now I'm speaking to the decision maker, or at least someone in the party of making the decisions. Maybe the boss still signs the check, but we're in the biz now. Okay? Because it's someone that can give me legit information. Typically how this happens, because I have good rapport, and I'm standing there with authority, and it's not a joke or a gag. Jennifer respects the game, and she says, yeah, you know, we have an IT company right now that we work with. It's Pivotal. They're in Spartanburg. I say, that's sick. How long have you been working with them? A couple of years that we found them on Google, and it's been okay. I say, sick. When's the contract renew? January. Sick, Jennifer. Listen, if that's so, let's do this. I would love to show you what good looks like from me. Typically, these contracts renew 90 days. There's like a renewal window 90 days before the annual anniversary. So let's do this. Let's set a time. I'll come back in September. It's 4 months before. Let me sit down with you. You tell me more about the business. Tell me what your goals are for next year, revenue, productivity, and how you're planning on using technology to help you achieve those. Let me show you what good looks like from me. And then you have a side-by-side comparison. A little apples to apples comparison. How's that sound? That's it. And Jennifer says, okay. That's very good. That's the due diligence close. Let me help you do some due diligence before you renew. If you're not head over heels satisfied, which we find out because she says, okay. I say, well, let me at least show you what good looks like from me. How's that sound? Sure. Okay. I got my booking link. September 11. Let's do it. What's your email address? Let me put it in here. We can move it as we get close because it's like a month and a half away, but let me put it in. And we set 30 minutes aside. We keep it high level. You tell me about your business goals. I'll tell you how I think I can help you and show you what good looks like. Sick. Booked. That's it. We did 6 of those, something like that, last week. That's it. That's the due diligence close. It's not complicated. The line is, let me show you what good looks like from me. Sometimes they'll say, no, we've been working with Pivotal for 25 years. We love them. We would never leave. Beautiful. Disposition satisfied, leave. Anything short of that, I do this. Okay, and I might come back with a little bit more donuts beforehand. Maybe the week before, I come back with some donuts, remind Jennifer, we got the thing next week. You still good for 11th? I'm still good. Looking forward to it. Okay, sick. But that's it. That's the due diligence close. This, if we just have time for this one, if you put this tool in your tool belt, you're going to get leads, and you're going to have conversations with them. This is an intro conversation, right? This is not your discovery call proposal thing. This is the director of operations of an 80-person construction company saying, let me see what side-by-side looks like. Okay, take a swing at the ball. You earn the next step of the sales process, but at least you got in the room for $10. If you do that 100 times a week, you're going to be hitting a lot of home runs. That's the conversion, right? My job so far, because I've only been doing this for 4 days shy of 6 months, is getting you more swings at the ball. Okay, that I can do, and get you more swings at the ball. So let's try it. Leslie, get up here. Because this is practice, because you're going to come on the big stage in Indianapolis. Heck yeah. Okay, everyone give Leslie a round of applause before she gets up here. Okay.
I'm really bad at this now.
These are your donuts and the scorecard.
And there's real donuts in here.
There are real donuts. Feel free to eat them, because otherwise I'm going to give them out to people in the thing.
I'm bringing them to my prospects tomorrow.
They are still good the morning after. I've done that, because to save money, I'll empty out a Dunkin's in the evening before they throw it out to save money. Anyways, don't do that.
Here's your stale donuts,
Yeah.
Jennifer.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know how well you remember the script off the hop, but it's okay. I just want you to talk through it. Hi, my name's Leslie. I run an IT company. I love helping hospitality with their IT.
Remembered. All right.
And I wanted to introduce myself, buy you some donuts.
Okay.
Try that. Just try that clean. You come in and you introduce yourself. Hi, how's it going? Shake the hand. Always handshake. Have the hand sanitizer in the car. Always handshake. It's part of the social greeting because we want them to feel like we're meeting each other, because we are. Okay, hi, my name's Leslie. I work at an IT company. Or I run an IT company. Okay, I run an IT company.
Because I'm a boss.
Exactly. And they respect that.
Yeah, of course.
Like anytime I'm talking to the honcho, they're like, is this what you do? I'm like, yeah. I pound the pavement because I'm trying to grow this business. I go and knock on doors. Oh my God, I used to do that when I was a kid. When I started this business, that's how we were doing it. Yeah, man, it's really good. I love meeting businesses in the area. 2 weeks ago, I got invited to the company barbecue. Who saw that photo?
I did see that. Yo.
The chef making the
was
boigs
awesome.
was the president, and I told him the whole story. I do this door to door, and he said in the office part, oh, you got to go to this. This is a 50-person financial company. Yeah. Okay, so I run an IT company. Lean in. You're a baller. Lean into it. They're going to know it sooner or later. I run an IT company. I wanted to come by and introduce myself. Make sure you're having a great day. Brought you some donuts. That's it. Slow down. This is not a full training, but yeah, that's it. You got the script. My name is Leslie. I run an IT company. I love helping hospitality with their tech. I want to come by and introduce myself. Brought you some donuts. That's what we're going for. Try it again. Just try it to camera.
Oh, now I gotta do it. My
Zoom
acting
in.
role.
Zoom in tight.
Try with someone else.
Zoom in tight to the camera.
To the camera. Okay, an action. All right. Hi, my name's Leslie. I run an IT company. I brought you some donuts.
I love helping hospitality with their technology.
I wish I could get into hospitality from the front door, but they would never let me in.
You got to invite your friend Mike. No one stops me. Hi, my name is Leslie. I run an IT company.
Gotcha.
I love helping hospitality with technology.
I don't really love that. That's why.
Who do you
I'm
love?
just kidding.
Okay.
Hi, my name's Leslie.
On camera.
All right, so
AI
I'm
edit that.
Cut.
That's called a hostage situation.
I run it, but I don't really love help. No, okay. I'm starting over. Hi, my name is Leslie. I brought you some I run an IT company. I love helping people with their technology needs. I brought you some donuts.
Pretty good. I'll do it again.
Damn it.
We're doing it together. So, hi, my name's Leslie. I run an IT company. I love helping hospitality with their tech. Wanted to come by and
Why is the
introduce
vertical
myself.
important?
Because it's about them.
Okay, fair.
I've tried
For the
small
crowd.
business, but it just sounds weird.
Yeah, no, it's better. Assuming,
Yeah, yeah. Like, you're being genuine. I do like helping your vertical. I might like many verticals, but I also like yours. Don't say that whole thing, but they can probably like we're trying to dance the line between trivial, non-genuine, facetious, and legit one human talking to another.
Well, and can I add too? It makes you come across as you're the expert
right.
coming in to that industry, that you know them and how to solve their problems. And
You're-
that's why
that's
as
what you're
marketers
trying to
say,
get to, at
find your
least.
vertical, find your person. If you go into that business and you recognize what that business is and how you can solve their problems, right off the bat, you're going to sound
It was
better.
actually a feeder question.
Yep. Oh, okay.
I knew the
Yep,
answer
so
to the
that'll be
question,
great for you
but I
guys.
think it's important, and I have to remember it as well. Not that I do walk-ins, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would.
we
I
will.
know, we will.
You
We're
will.
figuring it out.
Changing those
New
verticals.
York Recon's a little different than everywhere else.
Yeah.
You can't
Don't
just
worry,
walk
we're
in.
doing it in Manhattan. We are
I
doing it in
know,
Manhattan.
I'm ready. I am ready for it.
Okay,
Obviously.
so, hi, my name's Leslie. I run an IT company.
I love helping people in hospitality with their technology. I brought you some donuts.
And I wanted to come introduce myself.
Yeah,
That's
I
it.
wanted to come introduce myself.
Because we want to tell them the purpose while we're there. I wanted to come introduce myself. It's not BS. Like, I like helping people like you. We don't know each other, so I wanted to come introduce myself. No one's called me on it.
Sometimes people say, what are you selling?
Right.
And Mike will say, I'm not selling anything.
Yeah.
I'm just here to introduce myself. And
Yeah.
then they immediately say, oh, okay. Like they calm down a little bit. So
It's kind of good to understand the pushback also of what you get. I have done
Right.
walk-ins before, by the way.
This is part of the tape record or muscle memory in their minds because they've been burned by people before.
And nobody wants to be sold.
No one wants to be sold. No one wants to be talked at. The business cleaning companies, the insurance benefit companies, they come in and they just slap them with like brochures and the little foldy crap and stuff. That's who they think you are.
Yeah.
So you got to change your tone and say, no, it's me, Leslie. I run an IT company at 5th and Wall. I made that up.
That's pretty good.
And I love helping hospitality with their techs. I want to come by and introduce myself. Seriously, I want to come by and introduce myself. I run this IT company. And I brought you some donuts to make you smile. Oh my gosh, really? No one does that. Well, there's 10 people in San Diego that do that now. You can make that joke. Yeah, that's that initial interaction.
Got it.
All right, now try the cyber score part. I know that one's a little bit more.
This is complex, Mike.
It's
I
okay.
didn't prep.
That's fine. So here's your script. I made this for you, and then you pull out the paper and you put it on top of the donuts. Okay, and then you can just read it off of this as the first one.
Okay. I made this for you. We do this fun thing. It's like a cyber version of a credit score. You know these guys?
Yes, that's Daryl.
Wow.
Okay.
Maybe you're on this list.
Okay. You gotta
Oh.
explain to them what this is.
Oh, gotcha. We do this fun thing where we try to find your colleagues' passwords on the internet. You want to check out if yours is here?
Yeah. Pretty close, Leslie. Pretty good. Right. So that's what we're going for. Is we introduce it. I made this for you. That's the critical part. We added that only 3-4 weeks ago. It's made a huge difference. Because before that, they weren't realizing that this was not just some junk brochure.
Yeah.
I
that makes
made
sense.
this for you, and I point to the faces. The biggest technological advance we did last week, higher resolution faces. That's it. That's it. That's the juice. Because they're like, what's this about? And at least if we get them to come up to us and engage, now we can say, let me walk you through this. Take a deep breath. Okay, let me walk you through this. And then you got more time. You can tell them, this is what a dark web breach is in 10 seconds. Nothing to be scared of. It happens like every week. It's super easy to fix. We just walk you through the dirty laundry list and help you change your passwords. Super easy to fix. Don't freak out about it. It's nothing to scare about. And I said, okay. Well, I'm glad I'm not on the list. Okay. So, what do you want? Because they'll give you the look like, okay, this was fun. What do you want?
That was good.
Right. And then you ask the main question, which is,
Who's handling that for you?
yeah, who's helping you with this kind of stuff? And then the receptionist will say,
Joe, he comes by every other week.
right, okay, who's Joe? Joe's one of your employees?
Did
No.
you guys just flip?
Yeah. I'm so in on it, right? Yeah, when someone says, hey, Joe helps us. Oh, sweet, Joe's like internal employee that does IT? No. Joe's a guy that we know. We got him on the yellow pages when they were still printing this stuff.
What is that?
We called this guy Joe, and he fixes our stuff. Oh my God, when was the last time you called him? He's here like every 2 days, honestly. It's weird. Okay. Who does Joe talk to when he comes here? Jennifer. Is Jennifer here? What does Jennifer do? Operations. Is Jennifer here? Can I talk to Jennifer? Okay.
Dude, you brought me 6 donuts. I'm giving you like $6,000 worth of information.
Heck yeah. I know. This is not made up. This is the product of, like, show you the stats.
Yeah.
It's this fun combination of breaking through the digital spam barrier and standing in front of them. And when you dress like a professional and you look like you know what you're talking about and you sound like you know what you're talking about and you make them smile a little bit and say, hey, who's helping you with this kind of stuff? They say, I don't know, Jennifer? Sometimes the real good ones, they'll say, CMIT, sticker on the monitor.
That's right.
Right? Or the mouse pad. So when I'm there leaning over talking to Jill, I'm eyeballing all her stuff. You know, that's what I'm doing. That's what you're going to do when you walk in. We see all the stuff that's going on.
So can we pull back one thing is that most people are like actually terrified of doing this, of walking in, of calling, of anything else. And that is the interesting part that I feel like you always kind of get past what's the worst thing that could happen? And probably the worst thing that could happen is actually in my territory. So outside of that, you have people that are like completely terrified.
The most fun one, we were in Rochester, Senior State, upstate. We were in Rochester. It was the 2-day training. Part of my deal is I go for 2 days, I train you how to do it side by side. He's shivering in my car. He's so nervous. Okay, he's shivering. He's having a physiological reaction. The blood is moving away from his skin to his vital organs because he's so nervous.
Have a good day.
That's all I'm talking. I'm just saying, it's okay. Watch me do it 2 times. Talk slow. We go through it together. By the end of the day, he's cruising. He's been doing it by himself. You both know Kieran. Kieran's a very soft-spoken man. But he's coming to our Saturday clubs. He's telling us how he's doing it on his own. It's a learnable skill. Again, back to our recipe from the beginning. It's a 3 out of 10 skill required. Like this is the paper. Because all I have is like 10 seconds for the receptionist to boot me out or smile, and then maybe I get another 30 seconds with someone else before they hook and say, let's come up to my office. Let me show you how this stuff works. And then they just walk me through the whole plant. And I'm sitting in this guy's office. He's got all these Android phones he's got to flash. He's got all this old junk computers that were Windows 10 that he's got to throw out. And he's showing me his Excel sheet of his Sophos firewall, the F word. And he's buying Kaseya Direct for some reason. I got that for $10.
It's cool.
Everyone give Leslie a round of applause.
I might just come back just for all the rounds of applause.
Don't worry,
Mike.
we'll
Thank you,
practice
Mike.
more before our September 11th thing in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Okay. There are a couple more scenarios. For the sake of time, I'll just talk them through. Because I think if you leave here thinking to yourself, Mike said, as long as I read the left-hand side of this piece of paper, it could work. That is true. We're gonna, if you go to this QR code or go to icebergcyber.com/donuts, you're gonna see this training again. We have a bunch of anonymized recordings, so you can hear, this is not BS. You can hear what it sounds like to talk to a stranger. I say verbatim, the same thing. You're gonna start laughing. I say verbatim. This is what I go through. The other scenario, so this due diligence scenario is the most common, really, when they have an MSP. They say an MSP, most of your competitors at that point would say, oh, it's over, give up. Okay, no. They know exactly, they have problems that people like you solve. Killer. They already pay someone to solve it. Fantastic. You just have to give them a better offer. Okay. I didn't say cheaper offer, I said better. You just have to give them a better offer. So that's the due diligence close. Oh, you got an MSP, fantastic. Who is it? It's Pivotal. That's it. I know Pivotal. They have annual contracts, right? Yeah. We got an annual contract. When's it renewed? Because I'd love to show you what good looks like for me. Okay. What do you want to do? Well, let's do this. Your contract renews in January. Pivotal usually has 90 days auto renew window. So 3-4 months beforehand, I'd love to come down. I'd love to sit with you. We'll keep it high level, 30-minute conversation. You tell me what your business goals are for 2027, what your productivity and revenue goals are, and how you think technology can help. And I'll show you what working with me looks like. And we do a side-by-side comparison so you see what good looks like. How's that sound? Okay. Well, I got my booking link. Let's just put it 15th of September. You'll get the notification. I'll come back. I'll send you a gift basket or something. We'll do something fun, but we'll make sure we talk because I don't want you to auto-renew. If you're not 100% happy, at least let me do the due diligence for you. I show you what good looks like. How's that sound? Good. Book it. The warm intro to the decision maker. This was a fun one. This is where this is going to happen to you a lot. Where, especially when you start getting into this, you're not going to be as good at adapting to what they say. That takes practice, admittedly. So the receptionist is going to say, you need to talk to Jennifer, and you're going to be kind of a little awkward because you haven't practiced enough. And you're going to say, okay, cool, is Jennifer here? And they're going to say, no, Jennifer is here, but she's not here for you. Here's Jennifer's card. Okay, here's Jennifer's card. Okay, when they give you Jennifer's card, you say, what's the best way to get a hold of her? Phone? No, email. Okay, there's more pivots to that, but we'll just go for scenario 2. If they tell you to email Jennifer, What I've been doing is saying, listen, can you do me a little favor? Every time I try and email someone out of the blue, it goes to spam. Can you email Jennifer and just say, this guy named Mike came with donuts and wants to talk about IT? And I'll reply to it. But could you email for me? And they've been doing that.
That's good.
I know.
That's good.
I know. The most important thing is when they don't do it, you know something. Because when you cold email Jennifer and she doesn't reply, she didn't get it, she's on vacation, she's dead, she saw it and she didn't like it, she saw the headline and she didn't like it, she read your thing and you don't have no idea why she didn't reply. It's the open feedback loop of the digital communication. You have no idea. But when you say to the human, can you email Jennifer? And they say, definitely. You're going to read their nonverbals. And if the nonverbals say, yes, definitely, then at least you can come back when you don't hear from Jennifer and be like, Jill, did you email her? You said you would. Oh my gosh, I forgot about it. Let me do it right now. Okay. Or if you read them in the eye and they say, I will definitely not send this to Jennifer. Okay, at least you know. Because the worst part about sales is being in this ghost purgatory when you think something's happening and it's not happening. And then you're like, I got a good one today.
Do you ask them to CC you?
Oh yeah, I say, here's my info. Here's my info. It's on this big business card that's hard to throw out. You email Jennifer, you email me, and say, this big guy with donuts came in, would like to talk to you about IT. Simple, one sentence. Send. Sometimes they've been sending it right there. But when they don't send it, you know at least something. Because I'm reading this person's face, and Rita from the big construction company, she said, yeah, I'll send it. Because I know you're going to go to spam. So I'll send it. And when she does, like we get it, and we're like, oh my God, it worked. That they must be at least interested enough to hear about it. Okay, sick. That's a great signal. And when they don't, at least I have the human connection. I can go back and ask them, hey, why didn't you send the email? You said you would. I got you more donuts. Okay. The last one, the unhelpful, we'll skip that. We kind of went through it. Anyways. Okay, so in summary, and my takeaway line is get off your butt and go knock on doors, because that's what I believe wholeheartedly. In summary, what we're trying to do here, grand scheme of things, is far fewer people know about you than you think. Far fewer people know about you than you think. So, if that's the first step of turning strangers to leads, and then leads to prospects and prospects to clients, let's go just turn strangers to leads. And all you need to do there is buy some Dunkins. Print off something cute to help you with the conversation. Use mine. I've done it many times. Print off something cute to lubricate the conversation and go over and talk to them. Because at least you'll walk away with a ton of intel. Like nearly 100% of these experiments for you is going to result in learning. That's why I like it so much. That's why I've gotten so good in 5 3/4 months. Is because I'm always learning something. When you cold call and no one picks up, you learn nothing. You learn nothing. You don't know if they're there, if the inbox is full, if they're dead, if it's disconnected, you learn nothing. But when I walk in, even when the door is locked, I learn something. It's Tuesday afternoon, nobody's here. Okay, the 50 people that LinkedIn said worked here do not. We learned something. Magnificent. Put that into HubSpot, go back home, replan. Okay, but at least we come away with some learning. That's why I like it. That's your consistent way. You do it 20 per day, you do 100 per week of turning strangers into leads. You got all of my secrets on these pieces of paper. Get off your butt and go knock on doors.